Like a sieve, that's how porous the checks on cars entering Poland via the German border are. They don't stop any buses with German license plates for inspection, our border guard. If you don't want to be stopped for inspection, I recommend buying a bus. Oh, another bus. Tinted windows, Ukrainian license plates if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but probably yes, and it drove through. It just drove right through. Here we go, another bus. Now there were no tinted windows, just a total tin can. No one even looked. There are 3 groups patrolling here, checking, and no one was interested in the bus. Meanwhile, the Germans are much more thorough, and according to eyewitness accounts, they check almost every car entering their territory. In order to really and effectively protect the western border, you need to have considerable forces and resources, a lot of equipment, and that's just not there, especially since there are other situations now, floods or the threat of floods. So what's left is spitting and slandering by this media system protecting the December 13th coalition. This is yet another manipulation by the government exposed by the border defence movement. It was this grassroots organisation that revealed and documented further cases of illegal immigrants being transported to Poland by the German services. We have shown that by working together and exerting political pressure, we are able to exert it very effectively. But this is only part of our journey. We have a huge task ahead of us. Will we leave our children a safe Poland? So I encourage you to work with us, the border defence movement. And most likely, it is the effectiveness of the border defence movement that is a thorn in the side of the German services and Donald Tusk's government, hence the whole series of attacks on volunteers. This is what the border defenders sent by Law and Justice to the Polish borders look like. We defend the Polish border so that no dirty bastard can come in and F us over. This is an advertising spot in which Civic Platform, with the help of hired thugs, wants to portray volunteers from the border defence movement as aggressive racists. To make this anti-Polish propaganda credible, its creators even went so far as to provoke the real border defenders. They use disinformation and slander Polish patriots. They do not target illegal immigrants who are sent by the German authorities with the approval of Donald Tusk's government, but Polish patriots who defend the Polish-German border. In my opinion, the Civic Platform team are like the little green men of the Third Republic of Poland. Dehumanization is another manipulation technique used by the authorities to make Poles hate people involved in defending Polish borders. The border defence movement is also being attacked by the German media and Donald Tusk's government. Impersonating state services and obstructing their activities will be severely punished. This will include fines, but if necessary, also direct coercive measures and detention. This also applies to private drone flights prohibited by the police. Meanwhile, it is thanks to the drones equipped with infrared cameras and recently also with thermal imaging that volunteers can accurately monitor the security of the Polish border, even at night, even in densely forested areas. And this is one of the reasons why Bodnar's people are already pursuing them. The prosecutor's office is working very closely with the police and the Oder River Border Guard unit. The relevant notifications have been sent to the prosecutor's office and investigations are underway. Hence, the parliamentary inspection at the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration. Opposition MPs wanted to check here, at the source, what is really happening at the border, but they were not allowed into the building. We came to find out more about the controls that have been introduced at the borders, including the ban on the use of drones, the ban on photography and detailed information. We have prepared over 40 questions concerning these events related to migration, illegal migration, and the acceptance of illegal immigrants from Germany. The actions of the border defence movement are supported by many Poles. Here in Głogów, signatures have already been collected for a local referendum on banning illegal immigrants from settling in the country. The residents are determined and oppose this phenomenon, which is now most clearly coming to us from the West, namely illegal migration. The situation on the border with Germany and the issue of illegal immigration were addressed today by the parliamentary team of the border defence movement. What is happening today on the western border is only a prelude to what awaits us if the Migration Pact is not thrown out. In order for the Migration Pact to be thrown out, we need to have a strong argument that Poles do not want the Migration Pact. We are not giving up. We will continue to build this movement. We will continue to monitor the border and Donald Tusk's government, and we are not enemies of Polish officials. We are their friends, and they have expressed this many times in conversations with us. Those interested may join the border defense movement by filling out the application form available on the organization's website. Another massive attack by Russian drones and missiles on Ukrainian cities in recent days. Over 500 weapons were launched. Many of them reached their targets, many in western Ukraine near the Polish border. First, the cats started going crazy. They went mad. They sense the approaching Saheds. They immediately start growling and running around in circles. At that time, I was eating breakfast. Then I heard them coming. I woke up my wife and goddaughter and took them to the bathroom. I stood behind a partition wall and there was an explosion. The glass shattered and the windows were broken. Then another one hit. The Ukrainians are looking for a way to deal with the drones. They are building so-called interceptors. They are cooperating with European and American arms companies to produce them. The problem, however, is Russian maneuverable missiles which can shoot down the American Patriot launchers provided to Ukraine. Last week, the White House announced a temporary suspension of missile deliveries for these launchers while the U.S. military's needs are reviewed. Now, Donald Trump has announced the restoration and increase of arms supplies to Ukraine.
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to. They have to be able to defend themselves. They're getting hit very hard now. They're getting hit very hard. We're going to have to send more weapons. Yeah, defensive weapons, primarily, but they're getting hit very, very hard. It's very sad. So many people are dying in that mess.
This radical change in the U.S. administration's attitude towards supporting Ukraine is the result of several factors. The first and most important being the attitude of the Russian dictator and criminal Putin. The White House has been offering a diplomatic way out of the war for months. Putin has chosen confrontation.
We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Kyiv strongly supported Washington in its diplomatic efforts, but at the same time warned against placing too much trust in Putin. The latest conversation between President Zelensky and Trump was supposed to be a turning point in relations between Ukraine and the United States. Today, I instructed the Minister of Defense and the Commander-in-Chief to intensify all contacts with the American side. We now have the necessary political statements and decisions that we must implement as soon as possible to protect our nation and our positions. This primarily concerns air defense, as well as all other elements of supplies from the United States. The arms supplies to Ukraine, although important, are less significant than the decisions on sanctions to be taken by Washington. Those prepared by a team of Republican senators are aimed not so much at Russia itself as at anyone wishing to do business with Russia. Unofficially, it involves a 500% tariff on any country that buys any raw materials from Russia. This is intended to break the only branch of the economy that brings Moscow income.
It's an optional bill. It's totally at my option. They pass it totally at my option and to terminate totally at my option. And I'm looking at it very strongly.
As revealed by the American media last year, during a closed meeting with sponsors supporting Donald Trump's election campaign, the American president reportedly quoted a fragment of a conversation with Putin from his first term. It was then that he allegedly threatened the Russian dictator with bombing Moscow in the event of an invasion of Ukraine. According to Donald Trump, Putin did not fully believe the warning, but nevertheless decided not to invade at that time.
Sotheby's auction house has unveiled the largest Martian meteorite ever found on Earth. Weighing over 24 kilograms, the specimen is expected to sell for several $1 million. There will also be something for prehistory enthusiasts, a complete dinosaur skeleton, as well as a treat for wealthy fans of a well-known computer brand, one of the first computers with the Apple logo on the case. The meteorite was found by a meteorite hunter near the city of Agadez in Niger. The auction house estimates that it will go for around $2 million to $4 million in New York City next week.
An amazing Martian meteorite that broke off of the Martian surface. There was some sort of massive asteroid strike, and we know there have only been 19 asteroid strikes big enough to eject a piece like this off of the surface of the planet. So it comes hurtling through space, 140 million miles through space, makes it through Earth's atmosphere and crashes in the middle of the desert instead of the middle of the ocean in a place where we could find it.
The exhibit is characterized by the unique red hue of Mars. Its composition suggests that it was ejected from the surface of the red planet by a powerful asteroid impact.
They didn't know it was Martian. They knew it was just a meteorite at first. It wasn't until it got to the lab and pieces were tested that we realized, oh my gosh, it's Martian. And then when those results came back and we compared and saw, okay, it's not just Martian, it is the biggest piece of Mars on the planet.
An impressive Martian meteorite can add a unique touch to many interiors. The same can be said of a dinosaur skeleton from millions of years ago, which was discovered in 1996 in a quarry in Wyoming.
This is one of only 4 known Ceratosaurus in the world, and of those 4, this is the only juvenile. Now that's a major find. Any juvenile dinosaur is super important, super rare. Their fragile bones rarely survive the fossilization process.
We have all heard about the dinosaurs that once ruled our planet, yet became completely extinct.
And the concept that we had a completely different life form roaming and ruling the planet that is totally gone, I think is really fascinating to us and terrifying, right? If these big, powerful creatures could be completely wiped off of the face of the Earth, could that also happen to us? What went wrong?
If you're not into space or prehistoric animals, you can treat yourself to a perfectly preserved working computer from 1976.
This is one of the first 50 Apple I computers that Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak hand-built in Steve Jobs' mom's garage. This is the first product put out by Apple Computers. It's what launched the company, what changed the world.
The first 50 units were purchased by a store owner in Palo Alto. With the money from their sale, Jobs and Wozniak bought parts to build a second series of 200 computers.
The story behind how this got here was there was a Tom Romkey, this is known as the Romkey Apple I, had a computer shop in Florida. And somebody had purchased one of these first 50, it looks like from the bite shop. He ended up moving to Florida and he traded Tom Romkey for a different type of computer, put it in a box, put it on a shelf, and didn't think about it again. I had sold another Apple I for a world record price of $950,000, I believe. Tom Romkey saw that, got on an airplane, and was in New York with me the very next day.
The current owner paid $666.66 for the computer in 1976. Now its estimated price ranges between $400,000 and $600,000 US.